welcome to my channel. It's Pamela here. I'm back with a really quick tutorial for these pen pal flipbooks by request. I shared a picture of a previous batch that I'd made in on a Facebook post, and yeah, I had loads of requests asking for a tutorial. So they are probably the most simple and easiest, quickest pen pal flip books that you'll make. So yeah, it's just a quick one from me. These are the last batch I made that didn't get sent out yet. I'm really behind with pen pal letters, and a lot of you guys will know that I do pen pal already, and time for me to catch up. So I'm going to be using this really gorgeous paper from the Paper Addicts here called Cozy Christmas, just because we're still in the Christmas season. But yeah, these are the last ones I made. I think I made about 8 or 9 of these, and it probably took me about 40 minutes. So yeah, they really are quick. So simple. Just inside we've got an envelope for our pen pal letter, and then we've got like a tuck spot on the side. You can fill that like I've done here, like put a couple of the die cuts that I've made from scraps in. I'll probably add some washi samples and maybe a sheet of stickers in there, sometimes journaling cards. But yeah, those pockets hold a lot, and I also use the scraps to make embellishments on the front. So yeah, I'm going to make some Christmas ones today. So have a quick flick through this paper. So pretty. Should make some really nice ones from this, but use whatever paper takes your fancy. The ones I'd made previously were, I called them Fiesta theme. They were like yellows, turquoise, orange, clashing colors. Really look nice for these flip books. But yeah, use whatever takes your fancy, and I'm just going to grab what I need to make them, which will be just my paper trimmer, my We Are Memory Keepers envelope punch board, some glue for gluing the pockets on, and a double-sided tape runner just for sealing up the sides of the envelopes. And I'll either close the envelopes themselves inside with a Velcro pad, or you could just use like a piece of washi, or you don't really need to close them at all, because these flip books will be going in, you know, just an ordinary envelope. And I don't know what they're called all around the world, but in the UK we call them DL envelopes. So they're really handy that they fit in like an average size envelope. So yeah, I will grab my bits and be back in a sec. So I've picked out some papers that I'd like to use, and the way I do it is just picking out papers that I'd like. I'm going to make 3 of the pen pal flip books. And we need 1 patterned paper for the envelope, and then another one for the cover. So I've decided these 3 will make nice covers. So they'll look like that on the outside, and then like this on the inside. But I'm just going to set them aside for now while I make the envelopes. So I'm using these 3, and I'll use my envelope punch board. I hope you guys can see, but I'll normally start with an 8 by 8 inch paper, and that will make me it's just 3.5 by 6 inches envelope, and I want to punch that at 3 1/4. But first off, these are 12 by 12 papers, so I'm going to trim them down to 8 by 8. So get them all to the same size. So I think I'm trying to decide as well, because I'll be using the scraps to make the pockets. Just trying to decide. I hope I'm not in the camera then. I might have just knocked the camera, sorry about that. But I'm just trying to decide like how I want my scraps to be left, so I'll be kind of using that for a pocket. So I'm trying to keep it like lengthways with the largest amount. But so it's quite hard to get in here with, well, to see it without getting in the shot. So there's one. Take our second. And then there's our last piece. So we're done with the paper trimmer for now, so just get that out of the way. So we've got our 3 8x8s left, and then we've also got a bunch of scraps that I'll use for pockets and make some embellishments with at the end. So for our 3, we want it at 3 1/8 to start. So I just make sure I do have that on the right. If you don't have the envelope punch board, you can just use any envelope that you've received in the mail. Just cut around an envelope, like open it up and use that as a template. You would draw around your pattern's paper and then just cut it out. But if you don't have an envelope punch board even, I definitely recommend one, especially if you're doing like a lot of happy mail. I think it was like one of the first like craft tools that I got, and yeah, I don't use it as much as I used to, but it's definitely something handy to have. I think one of the first things I started making, probably, yeah, actually the first thing was envelope flip books, and I'd never actually use just a normal envelope as a template. I definitely recommend that you, I think you just save a lot of time using a punch board. So yeah, if you do want to make any crafts that involve envelopes, flip books, envelope journals, definitely think it should be on your to buy list. Whoops, gone off the score line there. So we've got our envelopes. I just want to round off the corners, because sometimes forget to do that. And I've actually like assembled my envelopes before and then tried to get the like top flap in. Don't think I've done that one too well. Just, oops. Trying to do it but still keep out of shot, so I'm not blocking what I'm doing. Just so that is all we need the punch board for. at the moment, and now it's just a matter of assembling our envelopes. So I decided that these 3 would be the covers, so it's just deciding now which papers might go well inside. I think that could look cute with that one. Yeah, I think I'll keep that with that. And I think that would make a nice one in there. So I just wanted to make sure I definitely assemble them like the right side out. So it's just a matter now of just fold them first, and then it's just using the bone folder to get a nice crease. I kind of like to do my steps, if I'm doing more than one, I kind of just do my steps like for all of them. I just think it makes it a bit quicker than doing each individual one, grabbing a sellotape or glue. But just find it easy. I think I've done that side already, but just to make sure, I do want these nice and flat in the flip books. So at this point, we'd want to decide, because it's directional paper, we'd want to just make sure that we're using the right top flap. I mean, if we were to glue it down that way, it's upside down. So yeah, just make sure you've got it going in the right direction, and then just, I'll use tape runner just to get my bottom flaps down. Again, I think this one could really go either way, but with this part here, that makes more sense if it's coming down this way, I think. So we'll have that part as the top flap. So that side coming down looks better. So I mean, these are going in the flip books. If you were going to make your own envelopes like that you wanted to mail out using address labels on the front, you might want to think about maybe gluing them. I mean, this will hold, it's pretty strong, the double-sided tape, but yeah, just to be really sure, I'd probably glue the flaps down rather than using the tape. But I mean, if you closed it and even use like sellotape, scotch tape to close the edges, you should get it be pretty robust. So now we've got our envelopes made, and it's just a matter of deciding again which was going with which. I've kind of forgotten already. I think I was going to have that one with that one. This one would also maybe look nice here. Totally forgotten which ones I decided. I think that maybe looks nicer with that one. Okay, well, I don't know if they were my original choices, but they'll do. I think they look nice anyway. Obviously it's matching paper, so they're all pretty much going to mix and match with each other. So for the next part, I do just really say eyeball it. I start off with how high I want my envelope flip book to be. So really all I'm going to do is just use the envelope itself as a guide, and I don't want too much space around it, so I just kind of measure it up. I make sure I've got a bit of space at the bottom and then again a bit of space at the top. And I can actually remove the envelope now. And that's another scrap. And I'll be placing the envelope on this side. Can't remember how I done them the last time, but I mean basically we want a score line, so we could do it that way, like where you'd put a score line, fold it over and then trim off the excess. But to get it more exact, we could just measure. So at the moment I'm just leaving a bit of space around it as well. So we could go like 4 1/4 or 4 1/8 and then double it to 8 1/2. I think I might just use it there and then put a score line in, if I can find my bone folder, and do it that way. Just to make sure it fits nicely. So that will be getting glued to here. Just get it smoothed down nicely, and then just cutting off the excess. So that's another scrap, and then our edges now meet nicely, and we've got our cover. So doing the same on all of them. So it's not really an exact science, it is just eyeballing it. Just trim the edge off first. And we've got a tiny bit of overhang there. And just to check, so when we put that in there, I'm definitely, just make sure you've got a tiny bit of room all around. And for the last one, we just repeat the same process again. Just make sure I've got that in the right direction. Let's throw the envelope off to the side. I think this plaid design's really nice. Find this bone folder from the punch board, gets into the score lines really nicely. Oops, I'd made a big mistake there. Yeah, that's probably going to show, so can we cut it from that? So that's me rushing. I think if, I mean, these things happen, you can try to still score it and see if we can trim that where I didn't want a crease. If we can trim that off without it, try and be a bit more careful this time. Yeah, so let's have a look. I think that part that's creased, just like I was saying, I really love this paper. Yeah, so that's going to show. So let me grab another piece of paper, and I guess this is what happens, but with this paper I'll still use it to cut out for ephemera, and can still use it even to make a pocket, and that's the way it goes. Let me grab another sheet. I grabbed my second piece of paper, and hopefully this time things will go a bit more to plan. Again, just making sure you've got a bit of space at the top and bottom. And just giving us a tiny bit of space around the envelope where we'll put that score line. And try to be careful this time. And then let's just take off that excess. And there we go. So, move that all away for a sec. I think that actually goes nice in here. I mean, they'll be this way up. Just have that one, this one, and then might be slightly, hopefully we can see all of those. And now it's just deciding, and if you wanted to use other papers out of the collection, that's fine, but I like to, if I can grab them, just use my scraps to make the pockets. So yeah, at this point we just kind of decide which ones might look nice, and that could even make a nice pocket there. So that would maybe make, I do want to, it doesn't really matter, but it's quite nice to get your pocket like up to the score line, so we'll have a nice diagonal. So yeah, I think I'll use that plaid one for that design. So will give us a plainer pocket, and that doesn't reach to the top, so if we're going to use something like directional, like we could put a paper like that, which actually might work nicely for that one. So this is why I was trying to get, that one could work well. Yeah, I think we'll use, yeah, I think that would be nice. It kind of reminds me of, these are the garlands, and these are kind of like tinsel-like. So we'll use those designs. What have I just done with? Oh, that is for that. Okay. So let's get these scraps out of the way. And start with one at a time. I might sit down at this point. So at this point, I kind of measure the cover so we've got a nice square. I don't want it exactly to the score line, but because we've eyeballed it, they might be slightly out. They might all be slightly different. So this up to the score line is, so I'll start on the height first. We've got the height. So this is just under 6. It's about 6 3/8 high. So we obviously don't want our pocket any taller than that. Just how to, and I think it's already at the right height. So width wise, it's 4 2/8 wide. So if we start with our width, that is taking us just, I'm just going to move it away from the score line there, and we can just eyeball it to check. We've actually got that crease mark that I've made. We could use the other side, but if I flip it over, yeah, okay, I won't use that part. So there's a lot of eyeballing going on. But yeah, that is the right height. And then if we just cut corner from corner, we then have our diagonal. So I'm just going to place in the trimmer, like from one corner to the other, just hold it down firmly. And then that gives us our corner pocket. So we've got that one. This one's going in here. So just double check. This is why I said they could vary ever so slightly. So this is closer to 4 and 1 in. Let's get the height actually first. So it's 1, 2, 6 and 3/8 again. So let's get our length. Height even. 6 and 3/8 and it's just over 4 inches, so I think I'll cut this to 4. And then we're doing corner to corner again. So I just like this shape pocket. If you wanted to, you could do a straight pocket going up. Just obviously by measuring the height and then how wide you wanted your pocket to be. So your pocket would look something like this and just have a pocket in here. You could have a pocket on the bottom, however high you want, just measure the width and then decide on the height you want. But I just quite like these corner pockets, so that will look like that. And then with our envelope inside, we'll end up with that. And then for the final one, I'll just double check the height again. I see this one is closer to 6 1/2. So I just want to place my envelope inside because it is a fair bit higher than, so I could get away, like I could take a small amount off the height there, but I mean, I don't really think it's necessary. Just check that here. Yeah, that's 6 1/2 definitely. So I'm going to cut my scrap to 6 1/2 in length. And then the width is just over 4. It's like 4 1/16. So I'm literally going to, this is just over 4. Well, we probably can get away with not trimming this at all and just putting it in from corner to corner. And as long as it's not too wide, so it kind of just meets the score line, but that's fine. Then we're not putting spines on these flaps, we're literally just going to put a small amount of glue on each edge and just line it up and place it on the inside flap. And I'll show you this one. Yeah, I think that's definitely the envelope. So you could, and I probably will actually just glue my envelopes in, but you can just use double-sided tape. Just try to, if you're using glue, just make sure it's not one that warps the paper. And okay, so the way I do it is to have my flap opening up to the right hand side, and then it's just getting this centered, just making sure we're not down to the score line, and just keeping a small amount of space just around each side, and then just smoothing it down. So I'm just going to glue on the rest of the pockets and the rest of the envelopes, and I think I'll die cut some die cuts. I'll cut out some die cuts with all the scraps that I've got left, and when I've cut those out, I'll just come back and show you where I've placed them. So I'm back with my completed pen pal flip books, and I'll show you what they look like. So on the fronts of them, I've just die cut some banners and added those to the top. All die cut from the same matching papers, so I've kind of matched them up to the covers. And then I've die cut these flowers, like 3 layers, and just layered them on. You could put like a sequin or a pearl, some kind of gem in the middle of the flower as well. On the inside, on the flap, I put, because we're still in Christmas, I've put like 2 of the die cut baubles here as well. And then for my pen pal, I've done that on all of those. I'll just show you like how they look. Like I've kind of put matching colours in with the envelopes. And then I've die cut a bunch of, at first I die cut some baubles as well, but I thought by the time they get them, get their letters, like Christmas is really going to be well and truly over. And because there's so many pinks and reds in this collection, I die cut a bunch of the flowers, and then they can either use them singularly or layer them up how they'd like. And then I've also die cut a bunch of the beautiful butterflies, which a lot of my pen pals are crafters, so I'm sure they'll appreciate like the extra die cuts. But even if they're not, I mean, most pen pals kind of like to embellish their letters and so on. So yeah, because they're pink and reds, they'll also come in useful for like a Valentine's Day theme. So that is it. Doing the die cuts took me longer than probably getting the rest of, like, making the rest of the flip books, like the envelopes and everything. But you can also, like, these are quite big pockets, so you can also put like your washi samples, journaling cards, sticker sheets, like whatever you want to send. They will hold quite a lot. So yeah, those are the very simple pen pal flip books, and they're always well received. Using the 8x8 size. Oh, and that reminds me, I think earlier on in the video I might have said that using the 8x8, you would use the envelope punch board, start your punch at 3 1/4. If I did say that, I should have said you start at 3 1/8. But if I did, I'll add the text to correct that anyway. But yeah, just so you're 100% sure of what I meant. And yeah, the envelope will hold a nice size, like a few large sheets of letter paper in there. And And yeah, it's just a really easy way of sending, but like nicely decorated way of sending your pen pal letter, along with a few goodies as well. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I hope you give it a try if you do pen pal, if you've got some happy mail to send. If you're sending happy mail, you could of course use the envelope for holding like other goodies, sticker sheets, die cuts, whatever you wanted to include, and then stick something else in the flap. As I said, you could make your pocket like, yeah, horizontally along the bottom or vertically along the side, and it would still hold a lot. So yeah, you could, even if you wanted to, like add flaps to the top or to the side, like stick your journaling cards. So it's just the base there, but you can obviously alter it quite a bit. So yeah, if you did enjoy that, please give this video a thumbs up. Let me know in the comments if you plan to do something similar or give these a try. And if you haven't already but you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to my channel. So yeah, thank you for watching, and until next time, take care. Bye bye.